All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you once again for tuning in to Street Therapy KC, Street Therapy KC with Chris Jackson, sitting here in the air chair. Well, my goal is to bring the therapist to the streets and the streets to the therapist so we can get some healing in our communities. So just start the conversation. That's my portion and my part to have those conversations that maybe we skip over, maybe we just don't talk about. But nevertheless, we're gonna talk about it today. So, so I have with me today my special guest, first time here. Hopefully, it won't be her last, but she'll be back. Dr. Katrina Armstrong. Dr. Katrina, how are you today?
I am doing very well. I'm gonna make a quick correction. I'm not a doctor yet.
Oh,
So it is just, yes, it is just Katrina, but I thank you for speaking it over me.
hey, we ready?
Yeah,
We
I am a
ready?
licensed professional counselor for the state of Kansas.
All right. Thank you for that correction. I appreciate that. So introduce yourself to the people further to the people and who you are and what it is that you do.
Okay, I am Katrina Armstrong. I am a licensed professional counselor in the state of Kansas. I own Vessels of Change Counseling Services, located in Overland Park, Kansas. So I am a therapist. I counsel adult individuals, families with adult children, and I do premarital and couples counseling.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that is what we're going to talk about today. Um, Premarital and marital counseling. We know, and I was trying to raise some of the stats earlier. I didn't get to most of the stats, just how relationships and marriages have since C-19, COVID-19 has kind of shook up a lot of the things as far as families and everybody. But it really took a hit on families and marriages and things like that, and relationships really took a strain as far as our pocketbooks. So some of the things that I want to talk about. First off, I guess we can start there. So since the pandemic and things like that, what are some of the things that you've noticed in your practice as far as, people really kind of struggling to kind of grasp things?
Well, I'm seeing that coming out of COVID, coming out of isolation,
Yeah.
that a lot of people are seeing that they may not still want to be together. You
Hmm.
know, that COVID hit hard for some people, being
Hmm. Yeah.
being isolated and locked in with someone for an extended amount of time without
Yeah.
having those breaks, whether it's going to work or being able to go to a store, just get away from each other for a while. It kind of is a strain on relationships. So a lot of the things that I'm helping people through now is how to rebuild the relationship,
Mm.
how to correct some of the cracks that they see that is in the foundation, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people, right when the pandemic happened, they were just starting the relationship. So they really weren't able to get past that brochure phase or to even have that honeymoon or brochure
Yeah.
phase. You know, we talked about that. The
Yeah.
brochure phase is when you get to put on your best self
Yeah.
and the way that you, yes, that
Yeah.
you want to present, and everything is wonderful and great, right? But behind that brochure is the real picture
Right.
of the resort, right? And it may be 20
Yes.
years old. It may not be as nice. The water may
Yes.
not be as blue. So a lot of people, they were stuck with people, couldn't really get out and find anybody else, or they were stuck with them in a home and
Yeah.
they couldn't get the brochure because the real them were there every single day.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
were immediately thrust into that. So now we're just trying to rebuild relationships, starting over, repairing some of those cracks and trying to move forward.
Yeah. 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 That's important, really to the rebuilding process. A lot of times, when the foundation is cracked and just a hurricane came and spread everything across, you know, to try to really pick up the pieces and say where do we start from here? And the irony of it, if the foundation was already cracking anyway, it's like, well, we have to start all the way over. And for many people, they couldn't weather that storm because it was too tough. Isolation is, like I told somebody this some time ago. It seemed like we all were in trouble, but nobody did anything wrong. you know,
That's a good way
COVID
of saying it.
we all had to sit in our corners and play nice. So, and a lot of times we couldn't play nice with each other.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to work. You were forced to stay home all day long with
All
someone.
day,
You know,
all day. Yes.
kids at school. I mean, listen. Kids are at home doing Zooms and stuff like that, work from home, and it really put a strain on stuff in our relationships. What are some of the key factors that you instruct? And I know this varies from case to case, but what are some of the key factors that you advise someone to start here?
Okay. Always say to start with honesty and intentionality,
Mm,
right? Honesty is always the best policy. If you don't like when the person has a high pitched voice, if you don't like the way that they look a certain time of the day, I mean, I'm trying to break this down as on a very
no,
minute
no, really,
level,
yeah,
okay?
right. Because those can be issues.
If you
Yeah.
don't like the way they chew or something, so yeah, see, I touched the point right there. I knew you was gonna start laughing when I said that. You need
Close
to
your
say,
mouth. Quit chewing
yeah.
with your mouth. So, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So serious. Small things like that you think at first, oh, that's no big deal, or oh, that's kind of cute. No, it's gonna get on your nerves. So
yeah,
if you're being upfront and honest, it's gonna solve a lot of issues. Intentionality is the cornerstone of any relationship. Friendship, situationship, all of that. Be intentional.
yeah,
Let me go a little further with that. The way that you speak to each other
yeah,
means everything. If you're
yeah,
being intentional in raising your voice, if you're being intentional in taking those little jabs at each other, also if you're being intentional and being loving and affirming the
mm,
person and being supportive and telling them, yes, I love it when you do this.
yeah,
Thank you so much for bringing this to me. I really like it when you treat me this way, when you speak with me in that way. When
yeah,
you're being intentional, that lasts.
yeah,
You can't fake intentionality,
right,
right?
yeah,
Yes. So when a person is giving it to you intentionally, now the other person, if they're being intentional, they can give it back the way that they want it, right?
mm,
So then if the person is doing something really nice to you, you can thank them for that. You can
yeah,
praise them for it. You can do the same back to them. You're being intentional with each
yeah,
other. Now, on the other hand, Chris, same thing. If you're being negative with each other,
mhm,
this person says something, you feel you got to say something to get over on them. So you
mhm,
take a jab, talk about the mom, the dad, really
yeah,
get into personal things.
mm,
The next person, they're going to do the same. So then you have all of that extra in a
yeah,
relationship that doesn't even need to be there. But when you're being intentional,
yeah,
yes, I want to talk to you this way. Yes, I want to treat you this way. It lets the other person know where they stand and where the relationship stands. So
yeah,
you'll know every single thing you need to know just by asking a person. It's that
yeah,
intentional. Did you mean to take that jab at my mom, my dad, or whatever?
yeah,
Did you mean to say
mm,
something hurtful to me? Same thing when it's something good. I really appreciate it. Did you mean to say it in that way? Oh, I
yeah,
really like that. Thank you.
yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because oftentimes I think that the issue with that is when those hurtful things come out in those heated conversations, when they come out, it's like you said that because that was inside of you. So you waited for the opportune time to jab me and hurt me with that. So I think that was one of the things that's really, because in one's mind they would assume that that's really how you feel about that person. So since you said it in the heat of an argument, then listen, that's really how you feel about my mom, my dad, or whosoever you choose to attack.
Well, hold on, Chris. Hold on. Yes and no. Okay,
Okay.
let me explain that. Like, yes, what you just said, but then no, I always have my couples when they hear something that they feel is a jab or an uppercut or whatever, step back and ask the person, can you restate that? Or even if they say restate, that's the word that I put out there for couples in the midst of
Hmm.
the argument. As soon as you hear that jab, even if you got to yell it, restate,
Hmm.
that lets the person who said it know, I didn't appreciate that. That was a
Hmm.
jab, and it also gives the person that says it an opportunity either to stand by what they said or to say it in a different way, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
takes some of that heat out of the conversation at the time,
Yeah.
you know?
So is that something that's easier for mature couples that and I don't mean mature in age, but mature couples that maybe have grown in their maturity level, or can someone that's a newly injured couple, uh could they pick up on that?
Yeah, because that restate really is a timeout.
Hmm.
It's that 5 seconds that you need. Now, did I really want to say it that way? Or do I want to say instead of your mom, this and that,
Yeah.
is I don't like how you treat me at times when this is going on. You
Right.
know, I don't need to bring an extended family in. Let's keep it right here with us. Now, to your
Mm-hmm.
point, when you're in the midst of an argument, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter if you're older, younger, older in the relationship, or newer in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to take a level of maturity
Right. And that's
for
why I
any
said that.
mhm,
Yeah.
for anyone to stop, take that 5 second
Hmm.
pause, say, okay, are we being intentional with where this is going? Do we want to fight today?
Right.
Or do we want to solve this issue and save the fight for another day? What are we
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. Yeah, because those jabs of sarcasm, those jabs of the back and forth, those can create toxic balloons, and those toxic balloons can stay around and they can fester for a while. And if those are not dealt with, it can be it can go from a balloon to a dark cloud, and unfortunately that cloud is it's hard to be removed. And in my assumption, it's hard to remove those clouds because they can stay and fester. But um I believe, as you said, when you sit and talk, say, wait a minute, give me 5 seconds, or pause, or hold on, or
Yeah.
regroup, or restructure. Um,
Mhm.
when you take that moment to really, it actually it's like a breeze. When you pause, like the breeze comes to us. Like, all
Yes.
right.
Yes. You're right. Sometimes those balloons, those clouds, they can be challenging to remove,
Mm-hmm.
but they can be removed, right?
Sure.
That's where
Yeah.
that intentionality comes in. Do we want to keep doing this or do
Right.
we want to see it different?
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I do with the couples, I always ask them to write out their vision of the relationship separately, right? So then when we come back in, I'll have both of them to say, what are the three most important things to you in the relationship? How do you want you all to interact? I may have them to tell me about just a typical day. So when you
Yeah.
all wake up, how would it look?
Yeah.
If it was better, what would
Mm-hmm.
you say to each other? What
Yeah.
would go on during breakfast? What about during the middle of the day? Are you all hugging on each
What
other?
bird
Is
do
that
you what bird do you hear chirping today?
you know, are you going to hug each other? Do you say good
Mm,
morning? You know,
yeah.
um, if one person is at home and the other is at work, do you text them during the day just to see how their day is doing? Do you send a little love note in the middle of the day? What about trying to meet up for lunch? What about trying to meet up for sex over lunch? What does that look like? Coming in the evening, what does that night routine look like? So once you all see what the other person would envision as a good relationship or a good day, you kind of get in the mind of the other person and it can help you to see, oh, okay, that's what they want to go. But this is where I want to go. So how can we get there together without the toxicity, without the clouds, and really elevate the relationship?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good. Get together. I think get together just to be together. And what I mean by that is say you know what, let's go have lunch. Nah, that's fine. I don't want to talk about kids. I want to
Right.
talk. Let's not talk about work. Let's not talk about kids. Let's not talk about that. Just go and be my friend.
Let me take that a little further. I support my couples in starting foreplay when they
Hmm.
wake up in the morning.
Hmm.
So foreplay really is all day.
Hmm.
It's all day. So it's the hugs in the morning, the kiss goodbye. It's the meeting up for lunch and just
Yeah.
laughing and having a good time. For women, sex is emotional. So
Hmm.
if that emotional connection isn't there, they're
Yeah.
not going to be as open and willing to have sex all the time. Whereas for a man, it may just be, you're breathing,
Yeah.
so, okay, let's go ahead. So
Yeah.
to start that emotional connection, start it in the morning with the good
Mm.
morning, with the hug, with the kiss before you leave, with having just a fun loving conversation over lunch or dinner about a funny movie you saw or one that you want to see, or think about something you all did when you first met that was funny. Relive it, laugh loud, right? Just get that connection going. And
Mm.
that physical touch, just a
Mhm.
rubbing of the hands while the other person is driving, kind of playing with it. Yes, have a
Mhm.
little fun with that, rub
Mhm.
on the
Mhm.
leg. Or when you're out at a restaurant or something, do that. Kind of blow kissy faces at each other or something, or
Mhm.
talk stuff. Be like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get you when you get home.
Yeah. Right.
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 Yeah, just talk
All
to me.
right. Why you playing over there looking like that? You better because I got
Go with
these
that.
wheels are turning. Oh, you wait till we
Yes,
get home. Better yet,
yes.
we get in the car. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's
No.
nothing wrong with getting in the car, but it's all of that gets it started. Foreplay starts earlier. It's not just once you're in the room or in the
Mhm.
car or whatever. It starts early. And if you remember that and just use those little moments to mess with each other when a person gets out the car, grab their butt, man
Mhm.
or woman, when they get out
Mhm.
that car, reach over and
Mhm.
grab. And of course, the person gonna look back in the door. All right, now, don't start no stuff. Right? That's all
Yeah.
right. Don't start no stuff. It
Yeah.
starts thinking. It starts
Yeah.
thinking. So
Yeah.
when it's time for you to be together, it's not some cold start, right?
Yeah.
You've already
Mm.
been kind of, yes, you've been
Yeah.
priming each other the whole day. So we
Yeah.
can have a better outcome.
Yeah. And in those times for those couples that may have that dark cloud, those little moments like that build up. And when those little moments
Absolutely.
build up, the cloud begins to go away, and you find out you see the sunshine again. You see you
Yes.
see the person for who they are, not who they were, but who they are. And
Yes.
and and I think that's one of the really big deals that get us in trouble is assumptions. Well, I
Mhm.
love you, so I didn't have to do that. So you assume that I already, you assume that I don't need to retouch, or you assume. And I was reading this. There's an article that I was listening to the other day. They talked about uh, like cheating. It says, yeah, cheating doesn't necessarily start with it. Most times, it doesn't start with sex. It starts with a conversation.
Right.
It starts with a subtle, "Hey, you look good today." Somebody on a job or
Mhm.
somebody somewhere, "Hey, you look nice today," and they're like, "Oh, I didn't hear that today, so thank you." And
Mhm.
those are things that they don't necessarily hear, but I equate it to this: if their emotional cup is full, then there's nothing else anybody else can put in there because you've
Exactly.
already filled that up. So thank you for the compliment. I'll keep it pushing, as opposed to thank you for the compliment. Now it begins to build in the empty cup that they have that
Yeah.
you left
There,
empty.
yeah, you're getting feel from someone else. When
Right.
you were talking about it earlier about those little connections, those are deposits in your love bank. right? So
Mhm.
everybody is aware of the withdrawals
Yeah, yeah, right.
from the love bank, but you
Yeah,
got to put something in there. Otherwise, you're at a
yes,
negative, right? You got
yeah,
insufficient funds
that's
sitting in the
right.
love bank. So
Yeah.
for every withdrawal that comes, you need to have a good 5 deposits in there
Mm.
with things. So all right, Walker. So if you're constantly withdrawing, you're having these spats, you're having these jabs, these undercutting arguments, and all of this, put some deposits in there. Slap a butt every now and then. Stop, Walker. And just hold hands, kiss on the neck, all of that good stuff. For women, surprise your man when he's driving. When he get to a stoplight, do something fun to him, a little strange
Yeah,
for some change to him.
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
what? So
yeah,
now he's thinking, where did this woman come from? Right.
yeah.
So that way, when the woman at work that's single that wants to do all this stuff to him,
Mhm.
he said, oh, I get that done at home.
Yeah,
So when the woman, if the man is comfortable, dang, baby, you look good today. You sure
yeah,
you want to go to work? You want to
yeah,
call in? Of
yeah,
course she's
yeah,
going to work, but you just
yeah,
telling her, hey, you want to call in? That's a deposit. Oh,
yeah,
girl, he wanted me to stay home
yeah,
today.
yeah,
It's yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And so the person, they're feeling good about themselves.
yeah,
Oh, my baby wanted me at home. So
yeah,
when Mr. Man from the other department said, oh, dang, you sure looking good. Yeah, my man told me this morning.
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean anything.
It-
So you can't, to your point, you can't assume that a person know they love you because the bills are getting paid. Well, the
Right,
bills are getting paid because you want a roof over your head too.
right.
you know so say those little things, have those little moments.
Mm.
When she's washing dishes or something, come up behind her and get up on her
Mhm.
butt a little bit and hug her from behind,
Mhm.
kiss her on the neck. Same thing. And it's not always the men that need to initiate. Women, you got to initiate some of that. If he wants to play video games, cool. Let me see how good you play while I'm giving you head. Let me see if you can concentrate. I'm gonna
Right.
get you off this video game, boy. You want it or not.
Mess your concentration up.
Let you die in this game so you can pay more attention to me. But there are
Right.
different things. I know, Chris, you like trick, but hey, I'm a couples counselor. None of this is new to me. This is what I
Hey,
do.
you
So,
said counselor. This is sex therapy. Hold on. No.
well, hey, when you're
Yeah,
in a relationship, sex is
absolutely.
part of it. So we can't
Absolutely.
sit here and that, again, the maturity level, you can't be
Yes.
in a relationship and act like sex is not real. So
Yeah.
yes, I assign sex as homework. We're going to
Mhm.
talk about it. We're going to talk about who's initiating, what you like, what you don't like. But
Right.
that is all part of those deposits in the love bank.
And it's healthy.
Absolutely.
A lot of times, you know, man, this is a lot of times in my observation, a lot of times we approach sex from two angles. One, we approach it being taboo. Shh, we don't talk about that.
Mhm.
Or we approach it all the way on the other side, just freaky.
Yeah, too
Yeah,
much.
it's
Yeah.
either we don't talk about it, we just kind of sneak and do it, or it's all the way just nasty. And there is a healthy medium there that
Yeah.
starts with intimacy, as you said. It starts with intimacy. It starts with the early morning, heart emoji or something like that. You roll over, you look at the phone, and be like, oh, and and
Yeah.
I think, while you were talking, the thing that really kept coming to me was confidence. It builds the confidence that oftentimes, as we can lose in relationships, husbands and wives, we can lose the spunk between us, because we could be, we can go from mom and dad. I'm dad doing the dad stuff, the dad that did the did. I'm mom the dad with the kids and things like that. And oftentimes is we lose sight of each other.
Right.
Who gave us the kids and stuff? We lose sight of that. And I wrote down this uh stale relationships that have gone stale or been placed on a back burner. Uh, and you know that some of the things that that would spark those interests. But what happens then? I mean, what causes a relationship to go quote unquote stale
Um,
or
lack of
forgotten
confidence.
about?
Okay,
Hmm.
lack of confidence in a relationship. When you talked
Hmm.
about that, the
Yep.
confidence in a relationship is that your
Yeah.
person is looking at you and only you. You
Hmm.
know when you step out with them that their eyes are only on you, not
Yeah.
roving about, and that's men and women, right? And that they know for certainty that you don't want anybody else because you're
Right.
so into them.
Yeah.
So when you see those stale relationships, someone has been showing up in a way that the other person feels insecure,
Mm.
that the other person feels unloved or ugly or
Mm.
unwanted, all of
Right.
that, male
Yeah.
and female.
Yeah.
They're feeling that because you're giving too much attention to people outside of the
Mm.
relationship.
Yeah.
Then over time, it just builds up to where the other person's like, oh, well, they don't want to
Yeah.
be with me anyway. Another thing that causes relationships to go stale is just what you mentioned. Children can
Hmm.
make your relationship so serious.
Go to bed now. No.
Yes, you're trying to give them melatonin gummies and such, trying to get them to go to sleep. And
Yeah.
melatonin is natural. Just don't
Yeah.
overdo it, right?
Mm.
Don't give
Right.
them
Right.
NyQuil and Benadryl, just
Yeah.
nice little melatonin
Yeah.
will do
Yeah.
the trick. But
Yeah.
some of those stale relationships are because as a mother, we do the
Hmm.
whole nurture thing. So we're gonna make sure those kids are right. We're gonna make
Yeah.
sure that house is right.
For
The
sure.
man is, you know, so when you're doing that and all of your energy, all of your focus is going on the children, the house, making sure everything is running right, don't forget your relationship. Is your
Mm.
relationship right?
Yeah.
Because if it's not right, none of that other is going to run efficiently,
Right.
effectively as you want it. It's just not.
Yeah. Well, even when you do the breakdown of a day, which is roughly about well, we know it's 24 hours. I mean, you spend generally 8 to 10 hours at work.
Yeah.
Then that leaves you with about 10 hours to come home, or the rest of that. Then you spend about maybe 6 or so hours to sleep. And then you got dinner, and then that leaves you with maybe a few hours to figure out what to do with it.
Keep going. You got the kids' homework. You
That
got, depending on
100%.
the age of the kids, you
Hmm.
got to get them to
That
bed, get
yeah,
baths together,
dinner,
all of
yep,
that, lay stuff out for
yeah,
tomorrow. The next
yeah,
day, clean
yeah,
up behind all the food you cooked, even if it's just throwing everything away. So you
yeah.
get down to quality time. And that's what I love
Mm,
working with couples. If
mm,
you only have 30 good minutes,
mm-hmm,
how you gonna break a back in 30 minutes?
mm.
Think about
Right,
it. What is gonna go on in that 30 minutes
right.
that's gonna
30.
make good
I'm gonna put,
minutes?
I'm gonna put good in parentheses. Good minutes.
Yes, 30 good minutes, right? We're not gonna sit there and talk about the day. We talked about that over dinner, right?
Yeah,
So then that's where the fun comes in
yeah.
that couples counseling, to where you talking straight trash. Soon as you hit the bedroom
Mm,
door, as you're taking your clothes, you know you better get in this bed. I'm
mm-hmm,
finna get
mm-hmm,
right because you got
mm-hmm,
30 good minutes. And
mm-hmm,
so you either about to hit the bathtub in the shower, do
mm-hmm,
something different. If you have the soaker tub in your primary bathroom,
mm-hmm,
get in there. Hit
mm-hmm,
the wall every now and then.
mm-hmm,
The ladies can put their shoulders in a corner of a room
mm-hmm,
and put
mm-hmm,
one leg on the dresser,
mm-hmm,
to hold you up, the other leg
mm-hmm,
around your man. There's
mm-hmm.
certain different
Yeah,
stuff. It doesn't have to just be in the bedroom. So if you have 30 good minutes, how are you
yeah.
going to spend it? Are you going to talk about, well,
Mm,
I heard you were talking to this person at work?
mm-hmm.
No, it's going to be, all
Yeah,
right, who on
yeah,
top? Because I'm
yeah,
talking stuff,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you go from there.
yeah. And that's and to rewind back what you said, that's where the intimacy, that's where the all day intimacy
Mhm.
as into that.
Climaxes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know your family structure. you know who's got what going on after school. Somebody's got football practice, baseball, basketball, cheerleading, whatever the case. So you know that. So, but in the back of your mind, but you also still know that they care about me, my
Yeah.
spouse, my partner. They're thinking about me.
Well, hold on. I gotta add this in. I would be remiss if I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes men put all of the load on the woman
Mm,
to keep the house going, keep the kids in order, do all
mm,
these
yeah,
practices, get dinner and everything. So when it's time for the 30 minutes, she's dead on her feet.
it's done. Yeah, yeah,
There's nothing left to give. If she
yeah,
want to talk stuff, just if
yeah.
she can't mutter a thing, she's over there
Okay.
asleep. Not a thing. So
Yeah.
then that's where you have to tweak it, right? It's still 30 good minutes. But instead of having an actual sexual encounter, it's that
Mm,
30 minutes of feet rubbing, a 30-minute
absolutely.
massage.
Makes
It's
sense.
that a time to say, you know what, for the rest of this week, I'm going to take whoever to these practices.
Yeah,
Or if you see that it's a constant occurrence, step up.
yeah,
Whoever the other parent is, male or
mm,
female, step up and
yeah,
evenly divide up some of these duties so that both of you now have the energy
mm,
to get in whatever time, right?
yeah,
What if it's first thing in the morning, as soon as you wake up? The 30 minutes of quality time could be first thing in the morning,
yeah.
you know, whatever that is. But see, that goes back to those deposits in the love bank, making
Mm-hmm.
sure that your partner is confident in a
Mm.
relationship. How can you say that I'm confident that you love me if you see me carrying the load every single day and you're not trying to help me?
And you're not trying to help. Yeah,
Come on.
yeah. No, no, 100%. I totally agree with that. And that also goes to the and so everybody's and it goes back to the book, The Five Love Languages. So everybody's got a language that really resonates to them. How important is intimacy for the man? You know,
Oh,
we
it's
know
so important.
we we know intimacy. We know intimacy really connects with the woman as far as on the emotional thing, but I think intimacy really connects with the man as well.
Absolutely.
I think it boosts up his testosterone to be.
Yeah, it's that ego stroke. So when you just think about something as simple as when you're on the couch watching a movie with your
Mhm,
lady, okay?
mhm,
And I love it when I'm in the back and my husband's kind of laying on me and we're
mhm,
watching TV.
mhm,
That's a good scalp massage that
mhm,
ladies you get
mhm,
to do. Rub on your man's head,
mhm,
rub on those ears,
mhm.
rub on his chest. He feels good. Sometimes you can put him to sleep like that, right? He
Yeah,
gets so
yeah,
relaxed,
yeah,
he'll just fall asleep.
yeah.
But those kisses, that little pat on the butt and stuff, all right now,
Yeah,
rubbing his chest when he walked by, just a quick rub, like, dang, baby,
yeah,
all of that
yeah.
it makes a difference. It's not just a woman that wants to feel good, wants to feel beautiful. The man wants to feel desired. He wants to
100%.
feel like he is the man that when you
Yeah,
walk in, you just,
yeah,
woo,
yeah,
baby,
yeah,
he wants to
yeah.
feel. It's
So,
like you said, it's that boost of ego, that
100%.
boost of
That's
testosterone
right.
gets going,
That's
and
right.
he's ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. Because you know, just in life in general, we go through so much stuff out
Mhm.
when we leave these doors of our homes, when we drive to work, when we drive to work, when we get to work, when we just live life in general, when you come back to your home, your safe haven, your kingdom, your castle, you want everything is as it is in someone's home. It could be just chaotic, but you still know that you're home, and that has to have some level of comfort with that comfort, peace, sobriety, or whatever. It just has to have that with it, because you fight so much stuff. You don't need to add anything else to what goes on outside.
Yeah, let me speak on that. So, especially our Black men, right?
Mhm.
Everybody, but
Yeah,
especially our Black men,
yeah,
that you have to go through so much every single day.
yeah.
It's truly traumatic
Right.
the fighting that goes on every single day in your life. You want to be able to get a little note in the middle of the day. Hey, King, just thinking about you. I appreciate all you do. You know, if it was something that he did the other night, thank you for the rose you got me the other day. That was so sweet. Could have been thank you for that wake up you gave me this morning. You know, it could be that he needs to hear that. But when he does get home, even if there's something, and I do want to put this out there to your listeners, even if you need to have a critical conversation that evening, can you all agree that we're going to wait 30 minutes after we get home to just sit down, take off these clothes, take your shoes off, you know, let your toes air out a little bit, right? Get something to drink, sit down and breathe before we go into whatever it is. Sometimes it's truly timing. Soon as that man or woman hit the door, that's not what they want to hear. Yes, we know we got to have the conversation, but let's give each other a little window of time.
Sure.
Let's do that. Even if it's, can we walk and talk? I've learned that in our sessions, especially the individual ones, as the body moves, the mind moves.
Absolutely.
So sometimes if you can go for a walk and discuss critical issues on a walk where there's not a lot of people around, you're less inclined to act any kind of way out in public. Right. So you want to be out in public so that the conversation does not elevate. Even going to dinner somewhere, so you can get a little table in the back, you're less inclined to elevate the conversation. But if you can just give each other some space and time first, then either go for a walk or go someplace out in public to have the conversation. And touching is another thing that keeps the conversation from elevating. And I want you to try this with your wife, Chris. And you know, you're always telling me I'm counseling you. I don't mean to, but I want you to try it.
I just called for a conversation. I'm playing on the couch right now.
So I want you to hold hands while you're having a serious conversation. And you'll find you can't argue and fight with somebody that close and you're touching. It's hard to justify yelling and a person sitting right there in front of you, right? And you can feel their energy. So if you can keep it down and notice when you pull back, right? Because if somebody gets upset, they immediately want to break the connection.
Right.
Yes, right. Because now I want to get out and stuff. We can't do this if we're holding hands. So that's another technique.
I want to back up and get within punching distance.
Oh Lord, yes, but unfortunately.
Oh, wait, let me see if I get my jab in. No, but no.
But
no, you know what? That is so true, because when you do, say you're having a great conversation with someone and you're just laughing so hard, like, oh, everybody's laughing. And the moment they laugh, they touch on your shoulder, that's like, it does something to you. Like, oh, it makes you laugh even harder, but it's that subtle, then you touch them. You know, So man, that is so true.
So Chris, I have to ask you, what are some questions that you specifically wanted to ask me? There's some questions anyone gave to you that we can put on the table that I can help someone?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the questions were that they had, and I done flip past my notes and everything. so one of them was, I'm gonna ask this question before we go to that one question there real quick. How dangerous is it to argue in front of your children?
Oh, that okay. You just went right for the okay. That you went right to it. Okay.
because that question will lead me into my next question, which is conflict resolution. So
parents, you are modeling for your children relationships. Period. Good, bad, or indifferent. You are their model. They're
Yes.
either going to see how to work through things and stay
Mm.
in a relationship. They're going to see how to blow up and how to treat the other person either really good or really bad
Yeah.
based on what you show them.
Yeah.
So when you are arguing or having a discussion in front of the children, it will depend, right? Either you're going to model for them how to have a discussion healthy to where you cannot agree on something, but there's no raised voices, no curse words, no hitting, no throwing, none of that, but just conversation, right?
Yeah.
Or you can model for them the most unhealthy, toxic type of thing that they'll carry with them forever, ever, either how they treat other people or how they allow people to treat them, right?
Yeah. Oh my
Now,
goodness. Yeah.
yes, and I want parents to be mindful of the content of the conversation, right? It's one thing to just talk about, a disagreement that they're having, why did you bake the chicken instead of frying it?
Right.
Right?
Right. Right.
But
You
when
know, I
it's,
like my macaroni and cheese this kind of way. Like,
yeah,
well,
that's,
you didn't tell
that's,
me that's the way you wanted it today. That was last week. Now listen here, Clarice. This is what's going to be tonight. Yeah. Yeah.
that's a different type of context and content
Mhm.
than I saw these pictures in your phone.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And or as a website that you didn't close down on the
Mhm.
family computer.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
drove past your office and I saw,
Yeah.
some of that save till you go on a walk.
Mhm.
Talk about that in the car, in a park, you know, just the two of y'all in the car, you know.
That's
Again, don't let it
maturity.
get heated. Yeah, don't let it get heated
Yeah.
because some of the content the kids don't need to
Yeah.
hear. Okay.
100%.
So, yes, things happen and one person may stray or they feel they need something more in a relationship that they're not getting. That's a conversation for grown people to have, right? We got to talk about what happened, what led to it, what you're
Yeah.
missing, how
Yeah.
you want to see that so that you'll feel like you're getting it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But if you put that out there without further content, they
Yeah.
just know mom got caught doing something in the car with somebody she worked with,
Mhm.
or dad was
Mhm.
looking at this without
Mhm.
content around it. Now the
Yeah.
kids are going to feel differently about that parent, right?
Yeah.
And now they feel, yes, now they feel they have to take sides and who's feeling
Yes.
this way. And it just causes all of this
Yeah.
disconnection in the household that's
Split.
unnecessary.
The
Yeah.
split.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that brings on toxicity in the relationship with the kids and the parents, right?
Yeah.
Because you didn't get the content of why dad was looking at that. Maybe it was
Right.
a reason for it. Maybe there was
Sure.
some research on something he's talking about.
Mhm.
I had to laugh at that one myself, but it could be, right?
The daddy was researching that. Why y'all in my stuff? No, sweetheart, mommy was just in the car with Fred, and nothing was going on. I was just sitting there on his lap. No,
And the car was rocking because of the music we were listening to.
the music.
It was some
This is a
content.
classic.
Yeah,
It was a
yeah.
rock and mom, you don't even like rock and roll. That's okay. But yeah, man. So and I'll go to the questions here. We have some time, but it said you said something that how kids how your kids can treat people or how kids can be treated by people. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they allow
What they
people
allow.
to do. Yeah.
100%. Mm.
Yeah. And the
Okay.
parents don't
So
realize it started with them.
yes. And it perpetuates if it doesn't stop.
Yes. Yeah.
It goes and goes and goes and goes.
Yeah.
So in conflict resolution, I think you really just spoke to that. Just having, and that was the next question, but really just having that safe space where you can go and talk to and air some things out in a healthy manner, where as we resort back to what you said earlier, just taking that time to pause. What did you actually mean by that? Did you actually really mean to say that about my mom or my dad or whoever the case, or did you just say that as a jab? Did you really mean to hurt me? And I think when you say that, when you say, what did you really mean by that? Or did you really mean to hurt me by that? I think what happens in that moment, it deflates the balloon. Because as you're in the middle of a conversation or a conflict, the balloon is getting bigger, and you're like bigger and bigger and bigger, and we say, "Oh, wait a minute, did you really mean to say that?" And it's no, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to say that. So it begins to kind of close down because listen, what I've learned, you don't mean to hurt the other person. You really don't, especially if you love them. But you want to either be right or you want to win the argument. But you don't want to hurt the other person because you love them. But you want to win the argument.
So what is that? That's pride. That's
That's
arrogance.
pride. Yeah.
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 And that gets in the way every time the Bible even states that pride comes
100%.
before the fall.
Before the fall.
And so when in my couples counseling and why I tell people it's okay, even if you only have a short amount of sessions, get in front of someone that can facilitate the conversation,
Yeah.
right? To make sure that it doesn't escalate. When it's just the two of you all there, it could escalate. But when you have a professional there, they're not going to let it get out of hand, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to ask the question, hold on for a moment. What did you hear the other person say?
What
Right?
did you
So
hear the other person say?
Right.
Yeah.
And that is so instrumental
Yeah.
in the couple session because one person said one thing, but you heard something else. So we got to stop, come to an agreement, then let's move forward. In an individual, when you're by yourself, you're talking up here and he's talking down here. And that's the disconnect. You're not even hearing each other. You're not even talking about the same thing after a few minutes. So it's important to get in front of someone that can facilitate the conversation to get to the end of it without it escalating.
Yeah. I'm glad I sat in my wooden chair and not my rocking chair because I rocked back and forth 15 times already. So I'm glad this is the wooden chair, not the rocking chair, because I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, I'm back with you now. Oh, okay, let's go. I'm like a wobble wheel over here. It's all over the place. But no, that is so key. Yeah. So a gentleman asked a question. He is considering marriage. He's had some relationships, some baby mamas, for lack of better words. He's got 2 different baby mamas from 2 different women or whatnot. But he's really looking to get in a committed relationship, and he's considering marriage. But his question was, how do I know that I'm ready for the big step for marriage?
Okay. I'm just writing that down, so I'll make
Yeah,
sure
yeah,
that
you're
I go
fine.
back to it. Okay. Every person is different, right?
Yeah.
So I would need to speak to this person, find out a little bit more about what he wants. What are your goals? What are some of the things you've experienced? Because even if he doesn't know what he wants, it's also very important to know what you don't want. Okay.
Absolutely.
So when he thinks about how do I know if I'm ready? That's a personal question. No one can answer that for him. But some of the things to look for. Do you still feel like you're being selfish in a relationship? Are you ready to put another person? Stop, Chris. Let me finish. Let me finish, Chris. Because you about to start wobbling again.
That's why I'm stopping. That's why I close my mouth.
Okay. Are you ready to put somebody first? Can this person's needs come before yours? At the same time, can this person accept that you have needs too? That both of you, it's not for you to stop doing for self and only take care of this person. But can you see yourself, the two people, taking care of each other selflessly? How does it look? How does it feel? When you're around them, are you at peace? Or are you still kind of wondering what's going on over there? I think they care about me. Why did they look like that? Why did she just get up and leave? Why did he throw the cup in the sink that way? What's going on with that? Do you mesh? So if you're getting to the point of wondering if you're ready to pop a question, you've been around them a while. Right. Are you okay with how they clean? If you're okay with how they don't, you're okay with how they cook, or if y'all gonna go out all the time. What's their spirituality like? Have you all prayed together?
Mm-hmm.
Do you even know if that person has any kind of faith in anything?
Yeah.
And what is that? What's the family history? Is
Mm-hmm.
there a history of once you get mad that there's this outburst? You know, is there domestic violence
Yeah.
in the family history,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is there mental illness in there? Is it a mental illness that you feel you can work with them through? Or is it a deal breaker? You can't
Mm-hmm.
go in there knowing the person is borderline personality and say, oh, they'll get over it. No, they won't. That's not going away. So you need to think about the steps that you are willing to take to support them in whatever they want. Do they want children? Do you want children? Are they okay with your kids by somebody else being around?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they with you, they got to accept your kids too. It's a package deal.
Yeah.
So it's all of those little pieces when you're thinking, am I ready? The same as you're saying, am I ready for this person? Are they ready for you?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I would
Because
just
you
have to
because
sit down and talk.
because you know what you deal with, so you know you a whole bunch for yourself. You know you
Yeah.
might be a whole bunch for some. Listen, I know me, boy. I know they like, well, can they handle that? But yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So I would have to sit down with this young man and just
sure,
see what it is that you're wanting, what it is that you're looking for, and then to
yeah,
ask some different questions, to get them to thinking, is am I ready for it? Am I ready
yeah,
to take that step? And how will it look once
yeah,
I take that step? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Man, that is so key. Yeah. Am I ready for that? And on both ends, am I ready for them to see my nakedness, for lack of better words, my exposed self? Because if I'm gonna be vulnerable and tell you certain things about me and vice versa, that is me exposing myself to you. And I'm understanding that there are some things that you might not like. So now, can we come to the table and we can draw these strings? Like,
Yeah.
and I'll say this, you have the letters and stuff like that, and well, this goes with that one, and that one goes with that. Well, that one won't work, and had to have that whole commonality or whatever. So, and I know we got a few minutes left.
Now, Chris,
Um,
hold on before you go forward. Let me make one more
yeah, 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 yeah,
observation on that.
absolutely.
When
Hmm.
you talk about the vulnerability and the nakedness,
Yep.
that's where that peace comes in, having peace at home comes in
Hmm.
there. Because once a person knows that about you, how are they going to use that information? Right. So that's that peace, that security, that safety that you want to have in that person. So that's another thing that I would ask this person. Are you seeing those qualities in the person? So that even when they see your vulnerable spots, it's not going to be used against you later.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
No
Next.
rocking. Yeah, next question. No rocking.
No. Yeah, but so the last question that I had here was, and it's about marriage again. Gentleman had gone through a divorce, and he's wondering, should I remarry? Well, I guess his question was, can I remarry? And how long of a gap, or when do I know that I'm ready to remarry? And
There's
he's approaching this from the angle that he's not really thinking about marriage, but when he does, what would that look like for him?
nobody, there is no time limit
Yeah,
on waiting to marry or remarry. You'll know.
right.
He'll know soon as he'll
Yeah,
know when he's around the person if it's someone that's even worth his time, worth his energy, if the vibe is there,
yeah,
if there's a connection there, and if so, be okay with pursuing it.
yeah,
Some people consider getting married 2 weeks after divorce, a month after a death of a spouse. It just depends on the person and if they're okay with having some time to themselves and getting to know themselves, or if they want that companionship, if they want somebody there. So it's going to
yeah,
look different for different people.
yeah, yeah. Great answer. Great answer. And we got a few more minutes. So when you counsel with folks, what is one of the biggest questions that you get answered a common question that you get answered often?
Let's see. Um, People ask how long should they attend sessions? You know, how long is this going to take for us to repair this?
Mm,
Is it repairable? And
mm,
it's always repairable.
mm-hmm,
It's always, I've seen the worst of the worst situations. It's
mm,
always repairable. Are you willing to put in the work? Is what
yeah,
I turn around and ask them.
yeah,
Are you ready to be intentional with interactions? Are you
yeah,
ready to display love the way the person can receive it?
yeah,
No, that's part of those love languages.
yeah,
Are you ready to make sure your spouse feels confident
yeah,
in the relationship? You know,
mm,
and if you're ready to put in work, let's go. Let's salvage
yeah,
this marriage. You know,
yeah,
and I also want to throw out there, even if it's going to end in divorce or separation or an ending of the relationship, that can happen without there being all the fighting, the
yeah,
negativity. You
yeah,
can do it amicably.
yeah,
So either way we're going to go, let me help you get to that end. Either go
yeah.
your own way peacefully, or let's make it work and you stay
Yeah.
in it peacefully.
So good. So good.
So
Not a
you have to
session.
tell your listeners they have to contact me on my website,
There it is. That part.
vesselsofchange.com,
Yeah.
vessels, V as in victory, vesselsofchange.com, or they can call or text me at 913-735-6621. Again, 913-735-6621. Vessels of Change Counseling Services.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for this opportunity in this session.
We got to do it again.
We gotta do it again. Listen,
Yes.
the next time I'm gonna promote it a little more, a lot more. That way, when you come on, we can have questions live. Then that way, we can get it because I think these are questions that people really need to know, and our relationships are important to us as couples, but also to our families.
Yeah.
And when we're listening, we're talking about generational wealth right now, and things like that as far as us being behind in generational wealth. But we also got to talk about generation health, wealthy families, and just our emotions, man. We got to get it together. We need people such as yourself and counselors to really help us navigate that. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. It doesn't mean that whatever. It just simply means that, listen, let's tweak this a little bit, and I guarantee these are tools for success. So, well,
Yeah,
thank you.
having that
So,
support to be your best self.
100%, 100%. And I think we referenced the book. We referenced the book in here. I heard it's a pretty good book, The Five Love Language. I read a little bit of, not the whole thing, but that's a good book that we can reference, I guess, to the conversation. And next time we come back, we'll reference some more books some people can read and kind of link up to and with your information. So, thank you once again. This is Katrina Armstrong. I do appreciate you so much. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for giving me an hour of your time. I appreciate that.
And thank you for having me. I will talk to you again soon.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right, listen, this has been another episode of Street Therapy. Casey, Mr. Walker, are you with us? All right. So thank y'all once again. Listen, until next time, God bless y'all, man. Y'all be safe. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other, man. Until we meet again, God bless. Peace.